A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A+ English because it's so much fun. English education for you and everyone, so come along. Learn some grammar, learn a phrase, learn something new every day. Learn the A+ way. Hey, it's time to start the show. Are you ready? Good, 'cause here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A+ English.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to A+ English. I'm Pat.
I'm Kathy.
And today we're looking at part 2 of this month's story article, The Little Match Girl. Yesterday we learned about this poor match girl who's got to sell matches in the snow. It's not been easy. She hasn't sold any matches today, and she's looking at all the families celebrating New Year's Eve. Now, later on, this girl is going to feel a little scared. We'll find out why today. But before we do, what makes you feel scared?
Oh, I think this question depends on my age. When I was a little girl, I was afraid of the dark or like spiders, cockroaches, my parents' punishment, and I also felt scared if I didn't get a good grade. As for now, I feel scared if I'm not sure about what will happen in the future. For example, like COVID-19, it caused panic and serious problems to people. So what about you, Pat? What makes you feel scared?
Oh, it's actually the same thing that scared me as a child, still scares me as an adult: spiders. I do not like to see even a tiny spider.
Tiny one?
I maybe won't be too scared, but I'll still be, get away from here, smash. Whereas if it's probably any bigger than my thumb, I will be running away, calling the police, calling the army, somebody who can come and help me out and deal with this big, nasty spider. Well, that's what scares us. What is going to scare this little girl? Let's read through day 2 of our story, The Little Match Girl, and find out.
The Little Match Girl. Warm-up question. What makes you feel scared?
The girl put on her mother's shoes before she left home. However, they fell off her small feet and disappeared. Now her feet are freezing and she's very hungry. The little girl is also scared of her father.
Dad will hit me again if I don't make any sales.
She worries. She can't keep walking because it's too cold. So the girl stops to take a break. She lights a match to feel warm. Then something magical happens. She sees a hot stove in the fire of the match. It disappears when the match goes out.
Word power. Disappear. Disappear. My book disappeared. It was on my desk, but I can't find it now. My book disappeared. It was on my desk, but I can't find it now. Freezing. Freezing. My hands are freezing in this cold weather. I need gloves. My hands are freezing in this cold weather. I need gloves. Light. Light. Light, lit, lit. When we go camping, we light a fire to cook our food. When we go camping, we light a fire to cook our food. Stove. Stove. Brad cooked some noodles on the stove for dinner. Brad cooked some noodles on the stove for dinner.
认识字汇
Magical.
So today we're going to find out more about the little match girl and her home life. we start by going back in time a bit and finding out what happened earlier that day, which, as you hopefully remember, is New Year's Eve. The article says, the girl put on her mother's shoes before she left home.
今天呢，我们要来看这个故事接着会发生什么事情。文章这里说呢，小女孩在离开家之前穿上了她母亲的鞋子。
The article continues, however, they fell off her small feet and disappeared. So let's look at the first of today's word power words, disappeared.
Disappear 这个动词意思是消失或者是不见。大家可以想象一个画面哦，假设原本呢你的弟弟或妹妹在你旁边，结果突然呢从你的视线消失了，这时候你就可以说to disappear from my view. Disappear 也有不复存在、灭绝的意思。大家应该可以想到一种动物了，对不对？就是恐龙。The dinosaurs disappeared a long time ago. 恐龙很久以前就绝种灭绝了。那课文这段的意思是说，然而鞋子却从他的小脚上掉下来不见了。课文的例句说 My book disappeared. It was on my desk, but I can't find it now. 我的书不见了，它刚刚还在我书桌上，但是我现在找不到它。
Yeah, it's terrible when we lose stuff like that. We could say things like, my keys disappeared, my phone disappeared, I can't find it anywhere. And of course, we could also use disappear if it's a bit like magic, I guess. Somebody's there and then boom, they are gone. Now, that kind of magic stuff, we will come back to it later. But first, remember, we learned that it's very cold at the moment. Snow is falling, and that's why we see in the article that now her feet are freezing and she's very hungry. Let's check out the next word power word we have for today, which is freezing.
Freezing 就是极冷的。For example, it's very cold today. The temperature has dropped to freezing point. 今天很冷。温度降到了冰点。那像同学如果看到电影，可能会看到警察抓坏人的桥段。这时候呢，警察就会拿着枪对准他们，然后大喊 freeze， 就是不要动。这个 freeze 可以呢用在另外一个地方。那文章的句子告诉我们，现在呢小女孩的脚觉得非常冷哦，而且她肚子好饿。课文的例句说 My hands are freezing in this cold weather.I need gloves. 我的双手在寒冷的天气里要冻僵了，我需要手套。
Yes, so we can use freezing to mean either like 0 degrees Celsius when water turns to ice, or just very, very cold. So have you ever been anywhere really cold and freezing?
Well, nope, I haven't.I think Taiwan is a perfect place for me to live in because I'm afraid of cold weather. What about you, Pat?
Yeah, in about 2004, I went to New York with some friends in the winter, and it was so cold. It was minus 19. So there was ice all over the river.
Wow.
There was snow all over the roads. We couldn't go outside and walk for more than about 15 minutes before we just had to go inside and warm up. We had hats, gloves, coats, scarves, boots, everything. It was still so cold. Wow. I have never been as cold as that again. And the little girl is probably feeling just as cold, but that's not all. We go back to the article and we see that the little girl is also scared of her father.
这里故事带我们看到另外一个人物，小女孩的爸爸。文章说，小女孩也很怕她爸爸。But why?
Well, we see in the article that Dad will hit me again.If I don't make any sales, she worries.
这边小女孩心里想着，如果我今天没有卖出任何火柴，爸爸又会打我了。她担心的想着这件事情哦。这里的 make a sale 还有 sales 意思呢是做生意。如果你说 I haven't made a sale all week. 就代表我整个星期没有卖出东西。That's terrible.
I know, it's awful. And what's worse, we have the word again in there. So we know that this has happened before. We don't want to think about that idea anymore. Don't hit children. It's not good. Now, we could also do another example of making a sale. We could say, the salesman always feels happy after he makes a sale. Sadly, though, things are going to keep getting worse for our little match girl. We see in the article that she can't keep walking because it's too cold.
这边我们看到她无法继续往前走，因为实在是太冷了。
The story goes on, so the girl stops to take a break.
所以呢，小女孩就停下来休息一下。那这里 stop 加 to v 的用法，就让我们先进 Magic Box， 请讲师讲解一下吧。
Magic Box.
Oh my god, can you stop following me? 天哪，你们知道吗？那天我遇到一个跟踪狂，快把我给吓死了。不知道他怎么知道我私人的行程，竟然这样子一路的尾随我。那我就觉得我也是蛮大胆的啦，我就跟他讲 I stopped to tell him to leave. 后来我觉得有时候当明星真的也是常常要提心吊胆。后来知道原来他是我真的超级大粉丝，不过用这样子的追星方式好像不太对吧？我真的是真心奉劝各位疯狂的粉丝们 ，stop doing this to your idol。那英文中 stop 这个字可以用不同的句型来表达不同的意思哦。就像我一开始所说的 ，Can you stop following me？ 在这个 stop 后面加上的 V-I-N-G，following。这边的意思呢，其实是请粉丝们可以不要再跟踪我了吗？请某人停止某个动作，就用 stop V-I-N-G 这种句型哦。可是呢，还有另外一种用法 ，stop to 加上 v 的用法，但它呢所表达的意思就不太一样喽。像我刚刚说的，为什么我很大胆呢？因为I stopped to tell him to leave. 我就停下来，然后告诉他，请你离开好吗？可见呢 ，stop to 后面加上动词是表示停下来原本的动作，然后呢再去做特定的动作。同学们还记得我刚刚所说的那一句话吗 ？Stop doing this to your idol. 猜猜看。这样子是说，请停止不要对偶像做这个行为了，还是说，好，请你停下手边的动作，然后呢，去对你的偶像做这种行为呢？太聪明了啦！虽然呢，刚好像有点在绕口令，不过呢，相信大家都能够理解吧。Stop doing this to your idol 是在说呢，请停止这个行为，叫你不要再跟踪你的偶像啦。你的偶像也是一般人好吗？他会怕怕的。不过呢，也是啦，谁叫我们这么红呢
？Welcome back. So here are a couple more examples of using stop in the different ways. In this case, with the same noun. So I stopped to buy a newspaper. So I was walking, I stopped, then I bought it. Or I stopped reading the newspaper when the phone rang. I didn't continue with what I was doing. So back to the story, and we see that she lights a match to feel warm. So, because of that sentence, we're now going to learn about our next word power word, light.
Light 当名词是光，这里的 light 是动词，指点燃，它的三态是 light, lit, lit。而 light 当不及物动词的时候，也有变亮的意思。For example, her face lit up at the good news. 她听到这好消息，脸上露出了喜色。She lights a match to feel warm. 她点燃一根火柴，好让自己温暖些。课文的例句说 ：When we go camping, we light a fire to cook our food. 我们去露营时会生火煮食物。
Yes, so we can light a fire, light a candle, light up a room, and more, because it can mean adding electric light as well as firelight. So we then see that something is going to sort of change. This story is going to go in a new direction that really makes it a fairy story. We see that then something magical happens.
接着呢，神奇的事情发生了。这里我们来看一下哦 ，something 加形容词的用法。something, anything, nothing 都是代名词，都可能代替物或者是事情。那代替物的时候，可以指向衣服啊、桌子啊、手表啊等任何具体的东西。使用时，同学要注意哦，形容词修饰一般名词的时候，通常会放在该名词的前面。但是当形容词修饰 something、anything、nothing 等代名词的时候呢，该形容词应该放在这些名词之后。这种结构称为后位修饰。我们用三个字呢，用这三个字分别来造句，让大家比较清楚哦。例如 I have something good for you， 我有好东西给你。I can't find anything good at the store， 在那家商店我找不到任何好货。或者是 There is nothing wrong with the sentence， 这句子没有什么不对。
And we could also say something funny, something sad,Nothing interesting, and more.
那这里我们看到 magic， 我们都知道是魔法、魔术的意思，而当它变成 magical 这个形容词的时候，就有神奇的意思了。
Yeah, we see a lot of magical things happening in fairy tales like this. So a princess kisses a frog and it turns into a prince, or a princess cuts her finger and falls asleep for 100 years.These are all magical events.
And what magical thing happens here?
Well, we see that she sees a hot stove in the fire of the match. Let's explain this by looking at our final word power word for today, stove.
Stove 是名词，指炉子、火炉或者是做菜用的小炉子。这些东西哦 ，An electric stove 是电炉 ，A gas stove 是煤气炉。文章这里让我们看到一个景象：小女孩在她点燃的火柴中看到了一个火炉。课文例句说 ，Brad cooked some noodles on the stove for dinner. Brad 在炉子上煮了一些面当做晚餐。
Thinking about stoves, my parents have a special kind of stove. It uses gas and it's left on all the time.
All the time.
So the kitchen is always warm. There are 2 hot plates on top. You can open the lid and cook. There are 2 doors you can open to bake or roast things or just keep food warm. My parents keep this stove on from fall until spring.
Wow.
So the kitchen is always the warmest room in the house. Many farms in the UK have something like this. It's almost like a farm oven or farm stove. Now, back to the article, which says it, so this picture of the stove she can see, it disappears when the match goes out.Go
out 这个片语在这里是熄灭的意思，而它还有其他的意思哦。例如 Amy went out last night 在这里是当作出门的意思，或者是 This bag went out many years ago 这个包包在很多年前就过时了。文章这里说，当火柴熄灭时，火炉就消失了。这里的 it 指的就是小女孩看到的火炉。
Yeah, we can talk about fires going out, so no fire, but also the lights going out in a storm if the power gets cut. So this poor girl has a magical experience with her match. But what will happen next? Join us tomorrow for the final part of the story, but right now, let's go to our review time activity.
Review time!
Okay, so we talked about the match going out. There are a lot of other different phrasal verbs we can use with go plus something else. So I've written a few and put them in this hat. We'll take a look at just a few and see what we can explain about them. So would you like to pick one?
Go out.
Okay, we talked about go out, but there are other meanings to this word, right?
Go out, like we just talked about, the fire went out, and you can go out with friends.
Yep. We can also say to go out with someone. If you use it in that way, you mean the two people are dating. You can say, is she going out with him? Like, are they a couple? Are they a romantic item? Something like that. So there we go. That's a couple of meanings of go out. We also have go into.
Oh,
to go into. Now, one obvious meaning is like a building. You go into it. You go inside it. But there's another meaning as well.
Yes, it means to discuss something in more detail. Let's go into this sentence or issue in a more detailed way.
In a more detailed way, exactly. We find out more information. Okay, do you want to pick one last one?
Okay. Go bananas.
Go bananas. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yes.
To go bananas.
Like, kind of like go crazy.
Exactly. You go crazy. You kind of lose your mind. It could be in anger. You could go bananas because, you know, you step in something nasty. You could also go bananas for a sports team. It could be like going crazy with excitement as well as anger. Okay, that's all the time we have for today, but join us again tomorrow for the final part of the story. See you then. Bye for now.
Bye.
The Little Match Girl. Warm-up question. What makes you feel scared?
The girl put on her mother's shoes before she left home. However, they fell off her small feet and disappeared. Now her feet are freezing and she's very hungry. The little girl is also scared of her father.
Dad will hit me again if I don't make any sales.
She worries. She can't keep walking because it's too cold. So the girl stops to take a break. She lights a match to feel warm. Then something magical happens. She sees a hot stove in the fire of the match. It disappears when the match goes out.
Word power.
Disappear. Disappear. My book disappeared. It was on my desk, but I can't find it now. My book disappeared. It was on my desk, but I can't find it now. Freezing. Freezing. My hands are freezing in this cold weather. I need gloves. My hands are freezing in this cold weather. I need gloves. Light. Light. Light, lit, lit. When we go camping, we light a fire to cook our food. When we go camping, we light a fire to cook our food. Stove. Stove. Brad cooked some noodles on the stove for dinner. Brad cooked some noodles on the stove for dinner.
认识字汇
Magical.